Parent of the Year was sentenced to prison today for felony child abuse. Prosecutors say Deborah Zeldin was fabricating her adopted daughter's illness. CBS 8's David Goffredson was in court as the now 18-year-old victim spoke out at the sentencing hearing.
18-year-old Anna Donaldson entered the El Cajon courthouse Thursday afternoon, surrounded by members of her support group, Bikers Against Child Abuse. She needed support because she was speaking in court at the sentencing hearing for her former adoptive mother, Deborah Zeldin.
I think it's safe to say that Deborah should get the serious consequences she deserves.
Anna told Zeldin she has now taken control of her own life after years of abuse, where prosecutors say Zeldin told doctors her daughter was suffering from fabricated illnesses. The girl ended up being misdiagnosed and was hooked up to a feeding tube and severely malnourished before she was admitted to Children's Hospital, where it took her months to recover.
My childhood was stolen from me. My education was taken from me. And I was told that I would not be able to make it to be an adult.
After she got out of the hospital, Anna was adopted by a different family where she is now doing well. She recently took up surfing and now knows it was not her fault. Zeldin previously pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony child abuse, but the DA told the judge the abuse was long-lasting.
So this is not a single isolated incident that happened in time. This was almost a decade of the defendant falsifying Anna's symptoms to make her sick, to make her take opiates, to make her have unnecessary procedures, all while not giving her the proper calories and nutrients that she needed to survive.
Zeldin had been a foster mother for more than 2 decades in El Cajon, and she fostered more than 50 children. She apologized to her daughter, Anna, before being sentenced to 2 years in prison by the judge.
I've changed my life from when this happened. I'm confident that I'm not a danger to others and will not reoffend.
In addition to the 2-year prison sentence, the defendant will have a strike on her record, and she will never be able to be a foster parent again. At the El Cajon courthouse, David Goffredson, CBS 8.
And once named San Diego County Foster Parent of the Year was sentenced to prison today for felony child abuse. Prosecutors say Deborah Zeldin was fabricating her adopted daughter's illness. CBS 8's David Goffredson was in court as the now 18-year-old victim spoke out at the sentencing hearing.
Okay, we're live, CPS News Network. Okay, wow, what we're figuring out here, yes, get deeper. It's always deeper every single day. We go deeper and deeper. Let's just get to some imagery, horrendous imagery of an 8 to 18-year-old foster child being tortured, drugged. Opiates are involved. This is a medical fraud case, not fraud, but medical malpractice, where the doctors that are examining this girl did not do their job with simple blood tests. Child should have been taken away. 10 years of torture. CPS is in on it. It's a money game because the more money the trafficker gets, the more money CPS gets, the more money the agency gets. A two-year, there's so many people involved in this that find out where the money was, how much money was spent on her in 10 years with her fake illnesses that this lady was fabricating. How much money was taken in by these hospitals? You're probably talking, I would say, $5 to $10 million of medical malpractice. So huge lawsuit against the hospital, huge lawsuit against CPS, huge lawsuit against the foster agency, just everybody. You can imagine, this is like $100 million, just 10 years of torture of, claiming that it's all this woman's fault. No, it's the doctor's fault. I mean, the doctors should have figured this out a long time ago. It doesn't take 10 years to know that that everything's being made up, and they're giving a child opiates because of what this lady says. How could that be, right? Everything this lady says. Why didn't they try another foster home? Because they want to bring in the money. Okay, so see it for what it is. Child traffic ring being run by CPS, the doctors, and the foster parent. Oh, she got 2 years. Should have got, a life sentence for 10 years of torture, 10 years of drugging, 10 years of illness fabrication. This is her going to court with these bikers against child abuse quacks that we've seen promoted. You know, they I don't, you know, I appreciate them for being there for whatever it's worth, but these people are nowhere to be found for other cases in San Diego, specifically Arabella. You know, where are they raising hell for against what they did to Arabella? Where are they standing with the mother of Arabella in San Diego? This is a murder, the Arabella case that we've been covering. That's the worst child abuse, torture, murder, foster adopted case in San Diego, and these guys are nowhere to be found for the mother, for the family to make a statement. They don't, you know, where's their statement against these horrific war crimes? But they want to get on TV, you know, make it look like they're somebody. Another deflection. Not, you know, where's the spokesman? You should have been a spokesman. Hi, I'm so and so with bikers against child abuse, and what we witnessed, what we know about this case, and the evidence we've gathered is you know, CPS, foster care, adoption, child trafficking ring. It's all it is. It's kids for cash, child trafficking money off the blood, torture, and mayhem on children and families. So, you know, it's just, so see it for what it is. Don't fall for the propaganda BS. A 2-year sentence. Isn't that pretty much ridiculous? So so they don't want to give her, you know, 10, 20 years for I mean, horrific, extensive child abuse, because it, you know, just makes it looks worse for the settlement that this girl's going to get when she gets her civil rights lawsuit going. So, you know, let's just give her a minimum amount of time, 2 years, blame it all on her. It wasn't CPS, the supervisors of CPS. It wasn't the foster agency. It wasn't the doctors. It was her. She's the bad one. It's so stupid, right? Who's going to give a child opiates and all sorts of other things and saying that she has an illness that she doesn't for 10 years? That's what we're looking at. We're going to let the video play again. 2 years for a foster trafficker. You know, it's a ridiculous sentence. I'm going to go to comments. Got a few comments. God will revenge for these kids. Yeah, no, we got to get revenge. We don't wait for God. We are God's hatchet. You know, we'll come in and make sure everything gets prepared and grilled properly. Yeah, the poor kids. Gas chamber. Yeah, these people, CPS, foster, the medical, the doctors. Who's, you know, the doctors. So there's a huge lawsuit for this girl. I'm sure it's in the 20 to 50 million out of court range. So just keep that in mind. They're trying to blame her, the boogie woman. Give her 2 years. Make it look good. Make it look like we did something. Foster parent of the year. Again, El Cajon, San Diego. This is on the heels of the Arabella McCormick case. So this is her getting shot up in the arm unnecessarily by the doctors. So they're all guinea pigged. So let that be what this case represents. It's called medical malpractice, guinea pigs, using children as guinea pigs. I'm willing to bet you that over 10 years, they've taken in $3 to $6 million for this girl in medical expenses. So it's a money racket game, milk the system, cripple the child. You know, everybody makes money, more crippled children. That's all they want to do in CPS is cripple children. Maim them, cripple them, break them for life, and make it look good for the 2-year sentence when everybody should be going to jail. The CPS social workers, the supervisors, the doctors, especially. I mean, it doesn't take too many blood tests to figure out there's nothing wrong with this child. Clearly, they were complicit with the mother. Nobody's talking about that. Doctors, thank you. Yeah, great call there. Yeah, so we're going to keep this playing. Stand by.
An El Cajon woman, once named San Diego County Foster Parent of the Year, was sentenced to prison today for felony child abuse. Prosecutors say Deborah Zeldin was fabricating her adopted daughter's illness. CBS 8's David Goffredson was in court as the now 18-year-old victim spoke out at the sentencing hearing.
18-year-old Anna Donaldson entered the El Cajon courthouse Thursday afternoon, surrounded by members of her support group, Bikers Against Child Abuse. She needed support because she was speaking in court at the sentencing hearing for her former adoptive mother, Deborah Zeldin.
I think it's safe to say that Deborah should get the serious consequences she deserves.
Anna told Zeldin she has now taken control of her own life after years of abuse, where prosecutors say Zeldin told doctors her daughter was suffering from fabricated illnesses. The girl ended up being misdiagnosed and was hooked up to a feeding tube and severely malnourished before she was admitted to Children's Hospital, where it took her months to recover.
My childhood was stolen from me. My education was taken from me. And I was told that I would not be able to make it to be an adult.
After she got out of the hospital, Anna was adopted by a different family where she is now doing well. She recently took up surfing and now knows it was not her fault. Zeldin previously pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony child abuse, but the DA told the judge the abuse was long-lasting.
So this is not a single isolated incident that happened in time. This was almost a decade of the defendant falsifying Anna's symptoms to make her sick, to make her take opiates, to make her have unnecessary procedures, all while not giving her the proper calories and nutrients that she needed to survive.
Zeldin had been a foster mother for more than 2 decades in El Cajon, and she fostered more than 50 children. She apologized to her daughter, Anna, before being sentenced to 2 years in prison by the judge.
I've changed my life from when this happened. I'm confident that I'm not a danger to others and will not reoffend.
In addition to the 2-year prison sentence, the defendant will have a strike on her record, and she will never be able to be a foster parent again. At the El Cajon courthouse,
Sorry about that. Can you imagine a feeding tube? They're talking about giving this girl a feeding tube. Again, opening up her chest and putting her in a feeding tube. So it's all big money. The doctors all need to be charged. There's no reason for a phony diagnosis. Oh, she has an illness and we just can't figure it out. And, get her on a feeding tube, give her opiates. Opiates. They're giving her opiates, feeding tube. They're showing a feeding tube on her chest. But this is the same thing with the other McCormick girls. They can get $6,000 to $10,000 a month to traffic a medically fragile child. They get much more money. That was all this was about, was money. And, we probably had a GoFundMe in there somewhere in the 10 years. Yeah, GoFundMe for this little girl, this poor suffering foster child who's being tortured by CPS, by the medical, by foster parent. Again, 2 years, give her 2 years, make it look good for us. Don't make it, disgusting. I hope the doctor isn't. Yeah. So no talk of none of those people, but you can imagine the lawsuit for, there's no reason why the doctors can't figure out what's wrong with the child. It's like some mystery illness. It's a mystery. We can't even put a finger on it. Call it the foster COVID hoax. So yeah, again, it's just on the heels of the other case. Stand by. See if I can bring in some images. Here she is here. This girl here, Arabella McCormack. Again, eating disorder. They always claim they have an eating disorder and they're skinny. That's what she said. There's word that the parishioners from the Rock Church were bringing food for this little girl, that they made reports to CPS about this little girl, 6 reports to CPS. She's being abused, neglected, had an eerie sense of humor. They said very skinny, super skinny, beyond skinny. That's how the predators like it. The pedophile rings that are running these operations. These are pedophile rings, I think, without question, because we know what their money. These children are money. They're assets and products, and they're food for the pedophiles, and horrific abuse against this girl. And here she is. Here might be one of the last pictures, but we have a word coming from parishioners from the Rock Church that. Reports were made against her for malnutrition, that they were bringing food to the church so she could eat because she's hungry, and she died of starvation, torture. 3 arrests. Her husband blows his brains out. Let's just bring in that image. Golly, we've been working very hard around the clock here. Stand by. Let's see here where it is. Oh, here it is. Here, there it is. Here. Let's put it. Get the hot plate going here. We got a goodie coming in. Boom, right there. There it is. Let's just get this banner out the way. There they are. CPS church, DHS caught torture, murder, child traffic ring. 3 children trafficked. All said they had eating disorders. Let's get the big money coming in for these kids. Tortured, beaten, starved. One of them murdered. Arabella here on the left. Her brother and sister both tortured and starved as well. DHS agent blows brain out in front of cops. You know, he couldn't take the heat. And Letitia says, I didn't do nothing. So she's in jail with no bail. Her father's arrested, charged with murder. Her mother's arrested, charged with torture against the 3 kids. So it's a ring. And DHS, Homeland Security, 20-year veteran, border agent, San Diego. You know, where's the bikers for against child abuse? So don't follow all these crappy organizations that don't talk about this the way it needs to be talked about, the way we're talking about it. There's only one way to talk about this. We want these kids back. There's so much to this story. We've been running the videos, did 2 videos. Please go back and look at them. Please watch them. Again, ordained minister Letitia pleads not guilty for killing the 11-year-old girl here on her left, torturing and starving the 2 other ones. There's her parents are arrested. Her husband, DHS agent, Border Patrol agent, Homeland Security, blows his brains out in front of the sheriffs. These are sex traffic rings, child exploitation rings, racketeering rings that are run by the church, by federal agents. They all know where the money pot is, the honey pot of child pedophilia, child trafficking, child torture, the money, the write-offs, the tax write-offs, the value of the children to pimp them out to other pedophiles, or even just create these once they compromise these quack people, probably a pedophile, that once they compromise any of the agent Brian or his wife or any of them, they have to do a job. They have to do a job for the pedophiles to traffic the kids and feed them to the pedophiles, to the traffic rings, to the torture rings. Wow. Running out of steam here. They have no bail. There's no bail now. Why do they not feed them? I don't know anything about this. Okay, it's really simple. They're not feeding them because they want more money. She said people were complaining at the church that the child looks malnourished, and Letitia would tell them that she has an eating disorder, that the kids, all of them, have eating disorders. Same thing with this other girl that just was 10 years tortured in San Diego for medical malpractice, claims of, she's not getting the nutrition. You make them sick. They want them sick. They want them crippled. There's something sick about pedophilia and child rape, that they like them really skinny. You know, it's like more torture certain pedophiles can get off of torturing children and keeping them just really broken and weak. There's it's like a super high of adrenaline rush or whatever for these to keep them skinny. No different than the skinny models you see on Victoria's Quack Secret. So yeah, that's why they're not feeding them, to make them sick, to get more money. Again, they can get $5,000-$10,000 a month. I mean, when you're hooked up to the feeding tube, that's like the ultimate way to get money. The feeding tube, the CPS feeding tube. If you can get they had a feeding tube on that other girl we just showed. Here she is here. This is Arabella. 6 abuse reports ignored. Ordained minister charged. Her parents charged. You're seeing the picture there. We put the picture. This is the only picture we can find anywhere of this DHS Brian McCormick quack. This isn't a foster parent adoption situation. This is a child traffic ring. They're all girls. So again, these people, they're doing the most. No one knew that there was children in the house. Okay, so they probably weren't even there. Her parents are like 70. Letitia's parents are like 70 and 75 years old. I mean, it's like, why are they being charged with torture and murder too? I mean, how extensive, what were they involved in? So the kids now, they've had them 4 years. One's like 6 and 9, I think. Had the kids 4 years. She's 11 when she was murdered, Arabella. But everyone's getting away with this. The church is, the CPS is, the federal agency. So just know how evil and that the whole system is. It's created that way. They can compromise a pedophile if Brian's a pedophile, which 90% chance he is. Why would he blow his brains out, right? He didn't want to face 150 sexual abuse charges. So just know that they compromise these people as DHS federal agents and border agents, and then they can use them for anything. You're going to do what we tell you. Yeah, we want you to adopt 3 kids. He adopts the 3 kids, and then they're trafficked in the ring, and they have this wife. So you got to know how ugly and dirty this really is, and why they covered it up, why there was no news of this whole case until she was arrested. They didn't want to talk about the DHS border agent and any major news organization. Now it's out 2 days ago. It's out now. Keep those comments coming. I'm going to go to them. It's out now. It's on People Magazine. But know the phony agencies, that the churches are all phony. All churches are phony. All cops are phony. That's why this goes on. This isn't, the cops should come out and say, this is never going to happen in my city again. That they're all quacks. They're all phonies. It's all the leadership. There's no leadership. Any cop, lieutenant, chief of police would say, never again. And it's that simple. And it's simple to stop. Never again are we going to sever a mother's rights to her children without criminal charges. Right there. Boom. Case solved. They're terminating parental rights without any abuse of the children. You can't do that without a trial. And so it's treason. They're committing treason. They're taking children with CPS to traffic them for treason. It's to civil courts. There's no trial. We're going to sever the mother's rights. She has a domestic violence issue, and we're going to sever her rights. We're going to traffic the 3 children to a serial child trafficking, starvation, beating, torture, ring, and most likely pedophilia too. The probability is very high. So it's in a 90% range. That's what this is. You don't know, you have no, she's an ordained minister with a phony church. She's a program coordinator with the church. The Rock Church is the largest Southern California church organization, 19,000 weekly members. That it's very clear to see as you just float in this murky, nasty, disgusting water of perversion and filth and trafficking and body laundering, child laundering. You got to understand the deprivation of the pedophiles, that what they want. And that's what CPS is. That's what the people that are put in positions of power over the church, over the police department, over CPS, they put in people specifically to do this. You understand that? The judges, social workers, the program coordinators, it's everywhere. This has every high-level official complicit in your face child trafficking and federally funded, and the welfare check. They're all on the welfare check, all the cops. Okay, comments. This is outrageous. I'm sorry to this remaining family members. This has to stop. Jesus, please. Yeah, let's be the hands, people. Michelle Serino, it's so difficult. We have other videos. We had 15,000 views on other videos a year ago. Well, we're lucky to get 300 to 500 now. We're being totally censored. Facebook's censoring everything. Everybody's paid to keep their mouth shut. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. All the cops are complicit. If we can get the cops to just follow the Constitution, all this could stop. It's really, I can't believe it's either. I was broken today. I go through highs and lows. It just keeps getting deeper. We're going deeper into the rabbit hole of child trafficking. How evil they are. You have to know how evil child pedophiles are, and how their wickedness of torturing children very young, from newborn to the younger the better. How wicked they are, and how it's going on every single day. The abuse of children in foster care, adoption is going on every single day. There's nobody to stop it. and it's money. They want murders. They want children to die. They want medical malpractice. The bar wants malpractice. The judges want malpractice. The prisons want malpractice. This is the greatest war machine ever created. You gotta love it. You gotta say, hey, they did a good job. They're the best in the world. CPS, foster care, adoption, best child and the cops, judges, politicians, devil running rampant. Yes, he is. We see it. We see evilness to the highest level. Our children are groomed as soon as they start school. Yes, they are. Thank you. Beyond comprehension. Yeah, it is beyond comprehension. Thank you. It's just crippled. It's crippling. I'm running out of words. You run out of words for this crap. Again, I want you to visit CPS News Network, cpsnewsnetwork.com. I'll just type that in here. And then they want you to follow some phony vote. We do not co-parent with the crooked government. Okay, yeah, we've already made the connection between church and state, that the church and the state are married. They have a 501c3 contract. That's a marriage license. That's a you scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. That's what the church agreement is with the 501c3. We have to have all churches abolish the 501c3. There's no more church and state marriage. They're married in evil matrimony. Every church. And talk to me. I can't believe how many cases are going on just like this. And why isn't anything changing? It's because the cops are the ultimate power wands, right? They got the guns, they got the money, they got the funding, they got the we care about children. The cops have a lot of power to save and rescue children, and they're not doing it. So they are ultimate kingpins of the separation. When you take a child from a loving mother, like this mother, loving mother, beautiful child, healthy, normal, and terminate her rights without a trial, no trial, that's treason. So anytime cops take children from parents without a trial, deliver them to a child traffic ring, which CPS is, that's all it is. We're going to go to CPS News Network. Thank you all for watching. It's great to see some viewership. Shoot. Here we go. Okay, now we're at the CPS News Network. Just want to give you a crash course as quickly and succinctly as we can. Why is my phone not ringing off the hook? Why are people not calling me? Why do you do this? Why did you see this? Why are you collecting this creepy stuff? If the pictures you see here, if it doesn't stop what's happening, nothing will. So don't tell me there's any good cops. Don't tell me there's any good social workers. They would fix this. This isn't a hard problem to fix. All it takes to fix this is for cops to follow the Constitution, stop delivering children to a treasonous court system. It's treasonous. The civil CPS courts are treason. There's no trial by jury. It's a dictator judge, and doesn't require any evidence. All it requires is a poor mother who can't defend herself and a child traffic ring of attorneys, of county councils, all this, just a ring stacked up against a poor vulnerable mother. Traffic your kids and abuse them horrifically. This is the greatest war crime. And again, all these cases here, it's a crash course, just on and on and on. How many murders, how many rapes? So don't tell me there's a good pastor. Don't tell me there's a good cop. Don't tell me any cops are good, because if they're not fixing this, and there's nowhere to hide anymore. This isn't 2005. This isn't 2010. People who have just a little inkling to look, where's all the child trafficking come from? Foster care, adoption, and inside of it. No matter how much they try to tell you it's outside, they came from there, it's inside. That's what we show you here. So, yeah. So there's no hiding places anymore. Call everybody out. Call every cop out. Call every social worker out. Call every foster parent out. Shut it down. Shut it down now. We need trials with juries and criminal charges. They're taking kids, and this is a pedophile ring. Do you see one yet? How many rapes does it take? We probably went through 200, maybe 3,000 rapes by now. These children are being raped every single day, molested, sodomized, drugged, anything goes, beaten, strangled, choked, slapped. I mean, just every horrific thing. And so this is the way they want it. Don't tell me there's any good cops, any good judges, any good politicians. I mean, what the hell are you voting for if these politicians aren't talking the way I am of what needs to stop? too many people. They're all paid off, like somebody said. They're all bribed. Everyone's getting paid. All these cases, we know them pretty much. We memorized them over the 10 years that we've been doing this. But just cpsnewsnetwork.com, what a place to be. Wow, we're just going to stop there. Oh, you guys aren't even seeing. You're just listening to me. I'm so sorry. Wow. Wow, the whole system rigged. Thank you. Thank you. We love you for sharing. Thank you. Every little share. So it's thank you. It's a tip to us. All the love of money. Yeah, sick people. Francesco Amato. Yeah, she's doing everything she can. Yes, we thank her for sticking in the game and not giving up and swinging wherever she can swing. And that's great. And Tommy Valva's father was a cop, martial arts instructor. Yeah, that's what we want. We want children to be trained to fight. We need children to be trained to fight, trained to know, trained to, families. But again, it's the cops. The cops are the collection agent. They're the evictors they evict children from families and put them in a phony civil court where they're not going to get a chance. They're slaughter courts, torture courts, rape courts, beating courts. Wow, we could just go on and on here. See what else we got here. We'll just go through some imagery real quick. But again, a heart of the battle, Foster War 2022. You can only shut this thing down. Hold all the cops responsible. If they just get off their lazy asses and say, we're not going to violate the Constitution. We're not going to take children from parents without criminal charges. We're not going to take children from parents and place them in unconstitutional courts. That's all they got to do. Case closed. Case closed tomorrow. All of them. Stop making it like it's some difficult thing to do. This is easy to solve. It takes people to get off their ass and tell people to get the hell out of the way. People are too freaking comfortable. Don't let them be comfortable. No judge, no pastor, no cop. Call them out every chance you get. We do this online because we feel we can have more reach through online communications than any protest on the corner. These the value of what we do here and the message we try to get out there is to fix it. We don't want a gray area that some good, some are bad. And there's ways to fix this. Very easy. All these children murdered, CPS foster care adoption. All these children murdered, every single one of them. Foster care adoption. Who's paying these people? Who qualified the murderers, the foster parents and adopters to murder these children and paid them federal money? Who did that? There's no politician talking about this. And you stupid people, I love the ones that have an open mind, but the people that go out there and vote, what are you voting for? There's a war going on against children and families. What politician's talking about it? There's a war going on. A horrific war against innocence. And don't give me that crap that everything happens for a reason in life. Oh, this happened for a reason. That's used as an excuse. We really have to restructure our minds how we think that, everything happens for a reason. You tell me this happened, there's a reason here? There's no reason here. This is Satanism. This is evil. This is the core of desecration, decimation of children's souls and bodies and families. And there's a high to kill children. It's a high. Don't you get it? All these children, foster adopted children that were murdered. It's a high for the killers. It's a high for the traffic rings. It's a high for the pedophiles. It's a high. This is heroin. You're looking at heroin. This is heroin to pedophiles, heroin to child traffickers, heroin to the medical facility, heroin to big pharma. This is the biggest high you can get. To the bar association. There, all those, how many lawsuits, the money going out to the attorneys. Know who's running the ring. Bar attorneys, judges. Everyone's compromised, locked in. Wow, look at all those murders. Murders of foster adopted children. Going to comments. Thank you for sticking with us. CPS News Network. If you have a question, we'll try to answer it. I'm only going to stay on a little bit longer. But wow. Just loved it. This is a crash course. This video should be seen around the world. We used to get 3 million reach a month for 2 months straight, and then they chopped it down to 300,000. Now we're down to 30,000. So, yeah, the system, it's fucked up. It's made perfectly. It's everything's fucked up. The school system, the medical, the churches, That's how they roll. They fuck up everybody. Everyone's being poisoned. Look what's happening, Megan Walsh. Yes, Megan Walsh following the case. Unbelievable. Doesn't matter who you are. But yeah, that they can get away with it. Just keep some images up there of the dead children. But again, get the siren. Get people uncomfortable. Don't let join with us. Donate. Talk to us. Inbox us at the CPS News Network page. We're going to go to comments. We see you, Ohio. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for keeping this alive. It's Friday. You know, we'd love to be outside. It's so fresh air, and but it's great to be here and to bring this case forward. Self-defense classes. So again, all this could be stopped if they stopped committing treason. That's simple. Treason, treason, treason. That's the only way they can do this. That's how it's done. Again, foster mother gets 2 years for torturing her daughter. I'm sick of the daughter thing, for torturing a child for 10 years, trafficking and torturing, child trafficking, child torturing. There's no such thing as foster care. It's traffic care. Let's call it what it is.
Parent of the Year was sentenced to prison today for felony child abuse. Prosecutors say Deborah Zeldin was fabricating her adopted daughter's illness. CBS 8's David Goffredson was in court as the now 18-year-old victim spoke out at the sentencing hearing.
18-year-old Anna Donaldson entered the El Cajon courthouse Thursday afternoon, surrounded by members of her support group, Bikers Against Child Abuse. She needed support because she was speaking in court at the sentencing hearing for her former adoptive mother, Deborah Zeldin.
I think it's safe to say that Deborah should get the serious consequences she deserves.
Anna told Zeldin she has now taken control of her own life after years of abuse, where prosecutors say Zeldin told doctors her daughter was suffering from fabricated illnesses. The girl ended up being misdiagnosed and was hooked up to a feeding tube and severely malnourished before she was admitted to Children's Hospital, where it took her months to recover.
My childhood was stolen from me. My education was taken from me. And I was told that I would not be able to make it to be an adult.
After she got out of the hospital, Anna was adopted by a different family where she is now doing well. She recently took up surfing and now knows it was not her fault. Zeldin previously pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony child abuse, but the DA told the judge the abuse was long-lasting.
So this is not a single isolated incident that happened in time. This was almost a decade of the defendant falsifying Anna's symptoms to make her sick, to make her take opiates, to make her have unnecessary procedures, all while not giving her the proper calories and nutrients that she needed to survive.
Zeldin had been a foster mother for more than 2 decades in El Cajon, and she fostered more than 50 children. She apologized to her daughter, Anna, before being sentenced to 2 years in prison by the judge.
I've changed my life from when this happened. I'm confident that I'm not a danger to others and will not reoffend.
In addition to the 2-year prison sentence, the defendant will have a strike on her record, and she will never be able to be a foster.
Once named San Diego County Foster Parent of the Year was sentenced to prison today for felony child abuse. Prosecutors say Deborah Zeldin was fabricating her adopted daughter's illness. CBS 8's David Goffredson was in court as the now 18-year-old victim spoke out at the sentencing hearing.
18-year-old Anna Donaldson entered the El Cajon courthouse Thursday afternoon, surrounded by members of her support group, Bikers Against Child Abuse. She needed support because she was speaking in court at the sentencing hearing for her former adoptive mother, Deborah Zeldin.
I think it's safe to say that Deborah should get the serious consequences she deserves.
Anna told Zeldin she has now taken control of her own life after years of abuse, where prosecutors say Zeldin doctors her daughter was suffering from fabricated illnesses. The girl ended up being misdiagnosed and was hooked up to a feeding tube and severely malnourished before she was admitted to Children's Hospital, where it took her months to recover.
My childhood was stolen from me. My education was taken from me. And I was told that I would not be able to make it to be an adult.
After she got out of the hospital, Anna was adopted by a different family where she is now doing well. She recently took up surfing and now knows it was not her fault. Zeldin previously pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony child abuse, but the DA told the judge the abuse was long-lasting.
So this is not a single isolated incident that happened in time. This was almost a decade of the defendant falsifying Anna's symptoms to make her sick, to make her take opiates, to make her have unnecessary procedures, all while not giving her the proper calories and nutrients that she needed to survive.
Zeldin had been a foster mother for more than 2 decades in El Cajon, and she fostered more than 50 children. She apologized to her daughter, Anna, before being sentenced to 2 years in prison by the judge.
I've changed my life from when this happened. I'm confident that I'm not a danger to others and will not be a threat.
In addition to the 2-year prison sentence, the defendant will have a strike on her record, and she will never be able to be a foster parent again. At the El Cajon Courthouse, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.